Welcome horror hereticals on the eve of the new year. Hope 2024 had been treating everyone well. Have you watched my video looking back at the horror films of the past year? If not, you can click on the link shared in this video to go watch the hefty 40 minutes long look back which I spent much effort in collating and creating. So here we are, counting down my top 10 horror films of the year. Are you ready? Let's proceed. In position 10, we have the latest sequel to the Alien franchise from 20th Century Fox. I would not say I have a strong allegiance towards this franchise, though I thoroughly enjoyed Alien from 1979 and Aliens in 1986. And many directors I loved like Ridley Scott, James Cameron, David Fincher and Jean-Pierre Jeunet had taken directing helm to some hits and misses in this franchise. The seventh film, named Alien Romulus, had recruited Uruguayan director Fede Alvarez, who previously had jolted another horror franchise with 2013's Evil Dead, which brought monumental gore set pieces on screen while not slighting the lore of the franchise. I think Alvarez had successfully done so in Romulus as well, which also raked in a hefty box office earning. While the side characters could be made more memorable, and the choice of an AI character as well as the emergence of the final threat was not something I had enjoyed, I still enjoy a competently made space horror feature with Rain and Andy being strong leads to bank upon. Coming in at number 9, we have one of the most recent movies I have caught in Scott Beck and Brian Wood's Heretic. The writers of A Quiet Place gave us an exploration of the Mormon religion and how sometimes zealots might not be the most ominous part of dealing with a religion. In a year which saw a string of strong female performances in horror films, Hugh Grant was a breath of fresh air with his take on a charismatic killer. Wood and Beck created a dreary atmosphere during the entire travails of the victims, and I thought the script was brilliantly written, tying most of the nitty-gritty plot lines. It was a breeze to sit through this movie, another one into the A24's horror movies vault. In 8th place, we have the film that I started KK's Horror Heretic back in June 2024 with Joko Anwar's Siksa Kubur or Grave Torture, a full feature film that based on Joko's own short film of the same name, which delved into the Islamic belief of the dead having to endure grave tortures, something like a judgment of the good and evil deeds of their lives. Using the trials and tribulations of siblings Sita and Adil, Joko Anwar gave us a chilling account of the brutality of the Indonesian society and people, as his horror works always serve as a sort of commentary of the world he resides in, yet not take away the entertainment value. There were many effective jump scares, but none as scary as what transpired in the morgue. Together with Nightmares and Daydream limited series on Netflix, I would say Joko Anwar had a very fruitful year and I love that he did. In lucky number 7, we have Tubi TV original independent horror feature Low Lives. From directors Mitch Oliver and Tesh Gutikonda, this was an irreverent horror treat that going into it, you were thought that the movie would go in the conventional way but had a major twist that became an enthralling ride. This was a movie with very little expectation without a franchise like The Strangers to lynch upon. Low Lives was the surprise hit for myself with a decent screenplay and adequate performances from the relative unknown ensemble. The social commentary of American population and the flip-flop in the mentality sweeping through the nation as evidence from the most recent presidential election, this nifty feature might give us an interesting insight. Up next in the 6th position, we cross the Atlantic pond to the beautiful land of Ireland as director Damien McCarthy gave us a whimsical supernatural feature called Oddity. A sort of one-location horror feature, this was a classic tale of bad karma coming back to haunt you. Unlike many Irish horror, that dug into the law of the lands, Aity focused on people making strange, uncomfortable decisions and worse still, plotting murders using unethical means when doing so. In my video review, I felt this was a horror plot that could effectively be transposed to a stage play with the scare tactics that could work well both on stage and on the big screen. Aity was a one of the kind for this year and something I had not seen previously, so catch it if you had not. We are in the midway point with the 5th place, and we have Late Night with the Devil from Australian directors Colin and Cameron Carnes. I'm sure many people will emphasize that this movie was from 2023, but the wide release was in 2024 as well as streaming on Shudder. Like Aity, I had never watched a movie like Late Night with the Devil, which captured a live broadcast of a supernatural event from a late night talk show perspective. From the onset, we got acquainted with the backstory of the host Jack Delroy, played immaculately by David Tashmelchan, and it seems like both his professional and personal life was hanging on a balance and had to do something death-defying to boost viewership. In the end, it was a case of reaping what he sowed, and it was more than meets the eye with regards to our lead character's Jack. I was infatuated with the rustic 1970s sensibility with the production, and the interludes between segments of the live recording and the ongoings backstage and things like plants in this crowd worked a splendor to the overall big picture. In the 4th position, one place before the second runner-up, we have VHS Beyond. The 7th installment of Bloody Disgusting found-footage horror anthology franchise was a wild ride from the overarching frame narrative directed by my podcast hero, Jay Chill, to non-stop exhilarating segments from the likes of Justin Long, Kate Siegel, Justin Martinez, Virat Pal, and Jordan Downey. In a year with not many notable horror anthologies, I was glad that VHS is still holding the fort and offered one that kept me rooted on my seat with my attention fixed on the craziness displayed on screen. Beyond, which was the first in the last 4 to do away with the year-based theme, would look into extraterrestrial threats as well as something from beyond our consciousness, and I think the various directors did very well with the story creation and presentation on screen. I'm definitely looking forward to the 8th installment, simply known as VHS 8 in 2025, and perhaps it may make its appearance in next year's top 10. Snatching the bronze on the podium is Korean auteur Jang Jae-hyun's Exuma. Premiered in early 2024, this 2.25-hour long epic starring the likes of Choi Min-sik, Kim Go-eun, Yoo Hae-jin, and Lee Do-hyun explored a family curse that had ties with the history of Korean Peninsula and involved strong elements of Moon shamanism and dabbled in Japanese folklore and with a tinge of Chinese jiangshi movies archetype. The movie was a roller coaster ride for the audience, and when one thought the evil threat had been resolved, things went from bad to worse. The tussles between characters and the ordeal they had to persevere gripped the audience until the very end. Korean horror had been on the rage for 2 decades now, and this year the clear representative had to be Exuma, which took the worldwide box office by storm. Away from the typical zombie feature from Korea of late, Exuma showed the world that South Korean filmmakers had other horror topics up their sleeves, and we will keep an eye on what they will offer in 2025. Claiming the silver medal in the second placing is Smile 2. Director Parker Finn's follow-up to the success of Smile from 2022 was a tumultuous journey lead character Sky Riley had to endure as she was coping with her past trauma and trying to put her pop star career on track. While I have enjoyed Smile, which creeped me out back in the days, I thought Smile 2 kept me unsettled at the edge of my seat throughout the movie. And I never thought I would find myself rooting for an unlikable pop star who really bet on herself when there was no help and all the odds were stacked against her. Actress Naomi Scott's performance was held in high regards in my book, as she really displayed the myriad of emotions of being perturbed, petrified, messed up, losing hope to finally being defiant. We could call director Parker Finn a wonderkind in this horror genre, but besides writing a script that really knows how to escalate the madness, he can deliver what he wants to express on screen and produce all types of scare that could scar audience even after the movie ended. Finally, we have the number one movie, the one that ruled them all in the year of 2024. We have French director Coralie Fargeat's The Substance. Perhaps being a man of science who knew about genetic manipulations and whatnot, the topic at hand was something I could reckon with. And like many of the medical advances these days, the ethical conundrum would always put the user in between a rock and a hard place. The world of The Substance set a rule that put one's selfishness on knife edge, and whether you can play a foul of another version of yourself. I really love that internal tussle. And with strong performances from Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, it was not hard for us audience to be caught in between on whether who is right and who is wrong. Fargeat paid homages to the horror films that shaped her, and the body horror elements she had created would make David Cronenberg, an idol of hers, proud. With the light of The Substance, Ty West's Maxine, M. Night Shyamalan's Trap, and the above-mentioned Smile 2, the vulnerabilities of celebrities are being well explored in the horror genre this year. There you have it. That is my top 10 of 2024, which I am very certain will be debatable, and detractors will raise their pitchforks and masks to storm into my castle soon for choosing some movies and ignoring others. At the end of the day, enjoying movies is like art and music, which is subjective. You like what you like, and hope as a community we can support others who like the horror movie genre, which itself has been slighted by the general populace. So let's keep the positive energy alive. Continue to support my channel, as I am hopeful I can do better in 2025 to deliver my quirky bite-sized horror movie reviews. Thank you and hope all of you have a good 2025 ahead.